So this is, I think, oh no, it's not. I was going to be like, this is the first episode of season 3, but it's not. It is
totally isn't.
potentially the third. Oh,
Yes.
third
Yeah,
the
third
nerd again.
or 4.
So
Yeah.
in true third the nerd fashion, I'd like to introduce you to our fan, Ashely. And she has chosen a book for this book cycle, which I'm going to let her tell you what it is.
So yeah, my name's Ashely, and the book that I've chosen is called When Dad Killed Mom by Julius Lester. I'm not too sure if you guys have started reading it or not, but I'm very excited about the book because I know that Sarah had said we were doing banned books, and I think that is so fun to do. And I'm very drawn towards books that have a murder or mystery element to it. And I've never read a book about a murder or mystery from like the kid's perspective. So that's really what drew me to this, is kind of getting 2 perspectives on the story. So yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And I'm kind of
you.
surprised, like when I was looking for like banned books that I wanted to nominate for this season, I did official Google search or whatever, and the same kind of set of books really came up, and I never saw this one. So
okay.
Yeah, I'm excited to read it too. Sarah just revealed in the pre-conversation that it's not a memoir. So I had also falsely assumed that it was a memoir too.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. What about it made you think
thought
that
it
it was a
was.
memoir?
Just because, I don't know, when Dad killed Mom, I was like, oh, like, who is this guy, Julius Lester? I'm sorry that your dad killed your mom. Like,
Well, I'm going to have to re-record my personal journal, because my personal journal is like, you know what? I thought this was going to be a really hard book to read, it's a memoir, but it's written like a fiction. And I the whole personal journal is about me saying how it's written like a fiction. And then I just looked up before we came on and I was like, oh, that's because it is a fiction.
Yeah. Yes.
I think you should not re-record it. I think you should go
I
in
agree.
and just say, okay, when I recorded this first part, I didn't realize. So quick correction before you listen to it. It is not a memoir. It's a fiction. And here we go.
Yeah.
Like you should
I
just
think
do a
so
little
too.
intro, because I think it's good.
Okay.
Because how many times does that happen to people? Like,
Oh, totally.
it happens all the time.
Yeah, if 2 people felt that way about it, I mean, who knows? People listening might look at the book and be like, oh, what an effed up memoir. Like, why are they reading this?
Totally.
And then it's nonfiction, right?
so yeah, because I haven't even got the book yet. It's also,
Okay.
do you know that it's incredibly difficult to get?
Yes, that was one of the things that I was talking to Sarah about when I picked the book. I wanted to make sure that it was
That nobody
something
could
that
get it?
That no one
I
can
wanted
get
to
it.
make it as hard as possible for you guys.
I want my book to go up in value and then I can sell it for a high price.
To you. Because there's
I'm
only one
actually-
in circulation.
It's $50 per
hustling you.
book, and you pay for shipping. So just let me know.
I got a stockpile. I bought them all.
Yeah, for real. I went to Amazon and I bought the last 5 books. So, yeah, but I honestly was surprised too, because it's only from 2001. And so to me, I'm like, that's not even that old, but you can't find it. But I'm not sure if it was a very popular book when it came out.
Like, how did you find it? Like,
So I actually Googled list of books that were banned.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
But that's what I
And
did.
we all
And I
did
never,
that.
I originally, when we had first discussed the banned books, immediately I was like, I want to do the Hunger Games, but I know someone else had already picked it. And so I was going through the list and I basically looked into every book where the title piqued my interest. If you look at the array of books that I have read in the past, or even the podcasts that I listen to, the YouTube videos, it's all about murder. Not to be creepy about it, but I'm so fascinated by it. I think they make really good books, and I do really like books that are told from different point of views, perspectives, like of the same story.
Ooh, does this do that?
Yes, so
I love that too.
Yes, it tells it from the children's perspective, and there's a son and a daughter.
Cool.
Yes, and I don't know if any of you have started reading it, but the very first sentences My mom is dead. My dad murdered her. Like what a powerful, we're starting it off with a bang, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I went through the process. And I know it kind of has a very jarring title, like When Dad Killed Mom.
So the title, I didn't even want to say the title because I thought, once again, I thought it was memoir. I'm like, this is gonna be horrible. And, when Dad killed Mom, and it's super violent. And then no, it's fine. And then I started reading it, and I was like, oh no, this is kind of like, I like that too. Two perspectives of the same thing. It starts right away. It doesn't like lead up to the killing. It's like you're in it. The first page is like, this happened, and then it's the kid's perspective of how their lives are going now, like trying to make sense of it and stuff like that. It's actually, it's interesting, but the title is very jarring.
Yeah, and so that was, I think, one thing I was even telling my brother. I was like, yeah, this is the book, and he was like, that's not the title, is it? I was like, yeah, it is. And he was like, oh, you could have picked a better one.
You're like,
but
I didn't pick the title.
Yeah. But this book is it has my name written all over it. These are the types of books that I really like to read. It's a relatively short book. I think it's just over 200 pages. So I figured that would be good because I'm also in school right now. I didn't want to pick up something that was like 500 pages and
totally,
you know, but you were talking about how it is hard to find. They do have the Google Books has like the first 3/4 of the book online. I can send you guys the link to that. That's what I've been reading from.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, so I don't know how we're gonna finish the last little bit.
Well, I like mine's on the way.
Nice.
Maybe because I had quite a experience trying to friggin' order it too. Like at one point Sarah ordered it for me and then I canceled it and she canceled it. By the way, both of my books that I tried to order in my experience are now coming. So I might get 2 copies of this very rare book. So
and then you can sell it at a high price, just totally. Like Ashely.
That's what I'm saying. You got to make some cash on the side.
Yeah. It's supposed to be here by the end of January, so I'm not worried about it. But I'm glad a piece of it's online, like worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
While you're waiting for it to show up.
Yeah, because Sarah's doing Audible. Mira, do you have a copy yet?
No, so I kind of put off getting. It's going to take a while to get here. I was like, well, maybe I can get an audiobook. Although I don't prefer audiobooks because, like, if the voice is not the voice in my isn't similar to the voice in my head or better, it's got to be better than the voices I put in my head.
That's
right.
Fair.
If I'm going to listen to it, like the wrong narrator will just destroy a book. Like I won't want to listen to it.
That's so funny you say
I can
that.
do some reading and then some listening too, and I can finish it off because actually I got the audiobook through my library.
Oh, that's so good.
I got it from Libro FM. That's one of our affiliate partners, I should say, not Audible.
Oh,
but when Ashely asked me, you're like, she's like, this might be difficult to find. Is it okay? And I looked on Amazon, like, oh, it's on Amazon.
Yeah.
So I said, no problem, we can pick that book. And then I didn't really choose.
Yeah, I didn't even think about, when I see things on Amazon, I immediately just think, oh, cool, it'll be here in a couple days.
Yes.
But I totally forget sometimes that there are things on Amazon that do actually take some time to ship. So yeah, I didn't even think about that either. So I was really happy to find I believe it's on Google Books. And again, I'll just send out an email afterwards.
Yes. And we'll put it in the show notes too for other people. If they
absolutely.
and they haven't been able to get it, then they can get it from there.
One thing that I really like about books that kind of have different perspectives, reading them, because I do listen to audiobooks most of the time, reading an actual book where there's 2 perspectives, it's easier for me to follow along with who's talking, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's just another thing I like about reading it.
So, what I want to say about the audiobook though is that there's 2 narrators. I don't know if Sarah, your version is that, but there's 2 narrators,
no
which is
way.
I think I'm gonna like, unless I hate one of the narrators. But then if I love the other one, I'd be like, just get to the other one. Like,
that's fair. That's sometimes what I find in the different perspectives is I usually relate to one side more. So I like reading their side more, but it's so interesting. I find by the end of the book, I usually end up liking the person that I wasn't drawn to initially.
I wonder if the author does that on purpose. You know what I mean?
Gosh.
Makes them
I didn't even
unlikable.
think of that. Yeah.
Especially if you like a lot of murder mystery type stuff, because sometimes like it's
Totally.
written where you're like, that person did it or whatever.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they're terrible. And then you realize that they're not really terrible. They're
actually the
Yeah.
hero.
conflicted.
Yeah, you kind of get the background of what was happening, and then you're like, oh, I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Maybe they're
Yeah.
just grumpy because somebody's been trying to kill them or whatever.
Hey, I don't plan on murdering anyone, so I don't know if I can super relate.
Good. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Glad we cleared the air.
Like, publicly.
Yeah.
Publicly, everyone knows.
I
you
am
have no
on the record
intentions.
saying.
This is like the beginning of a murder mystery book where we all start talking about how like I would never murder someone, and then we're all somewhere at a resort and they're like somewhere in a mountain and no one can get there because there's a snowstorm and the fifth person dies.
Oh my God. I'm like,
did
this
it?
is White Lotus meets The Shining. What's happening?
Stop. Do you guys watch White
my
Lotus?
God.
I did. Yes.
Oh, we have so much to talk about. This is great.
It is great because we're on a podcast.
So we can talk about
The
it.
perfect, yes. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I totally would have chosen The White Lotus if it was a banned book somewhere, because that was a really good. I haven't watched a show that well done in a while, I think.
Okay, so it's a show basically where people go to a hotel. So like White Lotus is a hotel. And what has happened so far is there's just characters, and it's about what they're doing at the hotel for the week. I think that there's like some version of a societal theme that plays out by the way that the characters experience their week at the hotel.
Mhm.
In season 2, one character from season 1 is going to another White Lotus. And then season 2, same thing. The week happens and you meet all the characters, they do what they do. And it's like a comment on whatever. I don't want to say because I don't want to spoiler. You know what I mean? But like, each
I'm like,
season-
what is a comment on what?
Whatever.
What are they doing in the hotel? Now I have
Well, I mean, we
You're
can
really
say
leaving
like,
people hanging there.
well, I want them to watch it.
Yeah. Oh, well, hey, new podcast.
Yeah, White Lotus podcast.
Yeah, every episode reviewing.
audiobook, so you know, I don't enjoy the second actress's voice of the little girl.
Okay.
The boy, I think it's fine, but the little girl, there's something really annoying about. But maybe she's supposed to be annoying. I don't know.
Oh, is it like the voice is annoying, or is it
The character.
what she's saying? Oh, the voice.
No, the voice is
okay.
annoying, but I wonder if she's doing an annoying voice because some of the things the character says is kind of she's supposed to be like kind of argumentative. Like her brother at one point says she tried that. She's like, I don't know why, even hers, like, I don't know why I'm a bitch all the time. So she's kind of bitchy.
Yes.
So I don't know if the voice is supposed to be annoying too,
Mhm.
the inner monologue she has, but I don't care for the actresses.
Oh, that's good to know. And it's so I believe the ages that they are, Jeremy is the son. He is 12 years old. And then Jenna is the sister daughter, and she is 14. So I wonder if she's kind of like a preteen. And I mean, I remember when I was a preteen, I was not a nice person.
I try to forget.
Right?
I selectively remember. I was like, that was great.
You're like, no, I was an infant and then this age. Like there was no in between.
Yeah.
Like sometime in my like mid to late 20s or late 30s, I just like said to my mom, I was like, I'm so sorry. Like,
yeah, oh totally.
For all that like decade and a half, maybe.
It's such a tough decade. So
we're the worst.
Yeah.
Just the worst children.
And it's so funny when you're that age, you're like, this is justified.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah. And you're like, I know everything. And I'm just gonna be really mean to everyone in my path.
Right? Like the eye rolling and
the talking
I know
back.
what I'm doing.
Oh God. Just even I always used to be like, okay. Like that's so rude.
So rude.
Yeah. I see my
well.
nephews do that and it makes me so mad, and I'm like, I did it too, so it's fine, they'll grow out of it.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Book interrupted.
This is like the opposite of an interruption. So it's been like snowing yesterday and overnight and today, and it's wonderful, but there's a lot of snow. And instead of shoveling, we went snowboarding. And then when we came home, we were going to shovel the driveway. And instead, our neighbor snowblowed it while we were away because they're so kind. So it's like the opposite of an interruption, and instead we're just doing other things.
Book interrupted. I love that. I thought it was a memoir. I'm glad that you thought so too, Kim.
Oh, totally. Like it would never cross my mind that it would just be a fiction book.
I thought it was going to be a memoir too, actually.
Really?
Like,
that's so interesting. I was actually a little worried that it would be too juvenile, because when you look up like what genre it is, some of it says children's literature. And
that's what I thought was weird. Like,
yes, and then some of it said like young adult, but reading it,
like, is this for a 12-year-old?
And I wouldn't want my nephews reading this. Like, what? This is not. I don't know how this is children's literature.
I think that's why it was banned, because when I was looking up the ban is because it has description of genitals, because she does the girl, the 14-year-old does a drawing of her vagina and puts it on like a bathroom wall, and her mom it was her mom liked that she did it, and it was of her own vagina, and she's like, I'm just trying to get other people to like accept their vaginas or something. Anyway, but she described her vagina in detail. Like, she's like, I made the clitoris bigger than it actually is, but I wanted to show it, so that's not what it actually looked like. You wouldn't be able to see it. Like, she goes into detail, and that's one of the reasons it was banned.
And on that, they actually, because of the banning of this book, they had to redo the guidelines of which books can be considered in schools to read, because this was a book that I think they would read in schools.
That's interesting. Read the title first and go,
you would
maybe
think,
not.
hey.
And then they read the book and go, I might get fired for this.
Yeah, and I mean, in 2001, I was like 6 or something, so I don't really remember what school was like then, but maybe it was just different times and just whatever flew.
Yeah, this says it was banned for sexual content and genital references. And that was by schools. School board started.
Yeah.
School boards are stupid though. Like, they want to ban everything. I don't think that genital references warrants a banning, depending on the age.
No.
Like, when's sex ed? Isn't it like starting in grade 4?
On that topic, I think the whole fact that she drew her vagina because she wanted people to be like feel accepting.
It's like advanced. It's like ahead of today's day.
Yeah, and then the school's like, we don't accept it.
No vaginas.
Out of here. No vaginas. We don't want to know about them unless you're having a baby.
And even then,
thank you. That's and I think that's really important.
It came out of the belly button.
Yeah, you
which
pooped
so
it
many
out.
people think. Yeah.
Every kid.
You pooped it
But
out.
I think that's so important because I don't know if this is TMI, but like when
vagina.
When I draw my vagina and describe it in detail.
Yeah, when I publicly post it, like, but no, as a kid, like, I don't, and again, this could be so different. I don't know what sex ed is like now, but you have one view of like what a vagina should look like, and if yours doesn't look like that, you're like, something's wrong down there. And literally until a few years ago, I felt like there was something wrong. I was like, I'm gonna have to get surgery. Like, it just doesn't look how
it's supposedly is supposed to.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And then, through talking with other people or through reading online, like, there's just so much available now. I've come to learn that like there's so many there really is different shapes, there's sizes, colors.
I love it so much.
So many different vaginas.
Yes, exactly.
But it's true. Like,
it is. And banning a book like this is just kind of like also reiterating that thing that like women should be ashamed of sex. They should be ashamed of themselves. They shouldn't explore themselves. Like, how many pictures of dicks are there all around schools?
All around the town. People like spray paint them everywhere.
Well, also even in the
on
buildings,
things.
like everything is phallic. Like literally everything is phallic.
Gosh.
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
Just like in the fields, all the mushrooms that are growing in the forest.
In the book, I don't know if you got that far, but in the book, when she's talking about the vagina, she says that every vagina is kind of like a fingerprint. Everyone's different.
Oh,
I was going to say that.
I love that.
And she's like, I wish the other classmates would let me draw theirs so that we can show all the different type, how they all look different. Anyway,
maybe that's why I got banned.
Super wholesome.
Maybe they didn't want like other kids like copying that idea in the schools. They're like, this could be a problem. We got to ban this before they're having vagina drawing parties.
But I mean, how many kids, even in elementary school, are drawing dicks all over their papers?
I used to draw dicks. They used to, in grade 6, they used to draw, they'd call them anals. And they used to draw a butt and a little dick underneath the butt, like signifying anal sex. That was all the rage. An anal would be drawn all the time. Like you'd have your like textbook open and someone like whip an anal on it real quick. And like, I swear to God.
No.
It's really fast.
Gosh. What schools were you going to? Because it's not what happened at my school.
It was an elite private school.
It was called the Phallic.
It was the Anus Academy.
The anus. Listen up, an anus.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I like that this is low-key turned into a little sex podcast.
It always does. It always does.
So many times.
Well,
so
good. As it should. So for me, like this type of book is just so normal for me to read, and sometimes I forget that not everyone talks about murder every day of their life. Like that's just not super common. How comfortable are you guys reading the book or even going into the book?
I think people got more comfortable when they thought it was a fiction. Like when it was it was a memoir, I think that there was a level of discomfort. I don't care. I'm into it too. I like to read all the horrible things, like true or fiction. Mm-hmm. So I'm the same as you, Ashely. So it's not a problem for me. Yeah. But I think that maybe Sarah was like, oh, and then she was like, oh, thank goodness, it's not. This didn't really happen.
I can read this. This actually happened. I can read it now.
Oh,
really? That's exactly what happened.
That's
our mom loves murder mysteries, like to the nth degree. Yes. Fictional murder mysteries. Sarah and I we've watched a lot of murder.
I've read a lot of murder
in our lifetime.
Yeah, totally into murder mysteries if it's fictional.
Nice.
But the second it's nonfiction, like Kim said, I was like, I don't know if I was like, I need to get this book over with, and that's why I've read so much. And then just today, being like, oh, it's fiction. I was like, oh. Fine.
Oh, that's so funny.
Problem.
That's actually perfect because in my personal journal before this, as I'm like, I kind of gave like a little overview of the book. I actually say that it's fiction. So
it'd be so funny because Sarah's personal journal is all like, oh, this sounds like fiction, but it's not fiction. I'm just arbitrarily believing it's a memoir.
Yeah. So
in spite of all the clues to the contrary.
Yeah, so it'll be kind of funny to be like, so this is a fiction, and then you're like, so this memoir is a little intense, hey?
It reads like a fiction, though.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's so funny.
I don't know how they did it.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I know. It's like two perspectives. How can it be nonfiction?
This is a tag team memoir.
Yeah. No, hey, that's totally fair.
That's a great idea. I want to read a tag team memoir.
I would.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay.
The book interrupted memoir. Stay tuned.
Oh, we should write it.
Multiple perspectives.
Multiple perspectives.
That would be amazing.
Like honestly. A tell-all, like that Saturday Night Live book.
Like it'd be illustrated.
With lots of vaginas.
Vagina pictures.
And we can all draw our own vaginas.
Yes! Oh, totally.
And we won't put our names, just whatever it's someone else's perspective. It's just a picture of their vagina.
Just my vagina.
A drawing.
Oh my gosh. The cover of the guest. Just everyone's
that sounds
vagina.
Like Kim.
Who is that's Kim's vagina. This must be Kim.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
I'm so into that now.
Honestly, I would read every version of that book. So that's
great. We have one.
Any book with drawings of vaginas is on my list.
Hey, sign me up.
If you've enjoyed these video highlights, listen to the full episode on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Remember to like and subscribe and ring that bell to be notified when new episodes are published. Find out more by going to www.bookinterrupted.com.
Never forget, every child matters.